Welcome to the Lock on Everything with your host, Brian Locklear. All right, so I've noticed a lot of talk and information going around about this whole Iran deal, and all these political figures and celebrities that have absolutely no military knowledge at all. I just realized my hair is not good. But anyway, all these people that have no military knowledge all of a suddenly are, like military experts and military geniuses. So let's understand something. Iran is one of the worst countries in the world. They hate women. They hate Christians that have converted from Islam to Christianity. The Christians that do live there have to live by Islam laws. And the only way they're allowed to survive is because their tribe has been Christians the entire time, and they were never Islam. And the only way that they can survive is if they do what the Islamic regime tells them they can do, and they can only practice their faith within the confines of churches that have always been Christian churches. Okay, so let's get out our chest. Now, it seems the same people that are opposing the whole attack that the president done on a very bad man is all of a suddenly anti-feminist, because in Iran and in pretty much the entire Muslim population, women have no rights. Women are scum in their civilization and are at the bottom of anything. As a matter of fact, it's men, children, and then women. Now, you can't be a feminist in America and support any Middle Eastern country, Middle Eastern regime, or Muslim regime anyways, because they're all anti-women. Now, for all those that are in America that are pro-LGBTQRS element of P, if you're following any of this Middle Eastern stuff and you're opposed to the president of the United States and his attack on a very bad man and the killing of a very bad man, when he was in a country that has been a war zone for the last 19 years, then you're against the LGBT. You can't be pro-gay and pro-Middle Eastern at the same time, or pro-Iran, I should say, because you simply being gay in a Muslim country like Iran means that you are allowed to be executed. Now, I don't know any modern Christian country where you can be killed just for being gay, but I do know in Iran you can. So let's get that whole leftist idea of America versus Iran out the window. Now, I don't know if very many of y'all have seen this this post by Rose McCowan. See if I can get it to where y'all can show it. Okay, there you go. So I don't know how many of y'all can see this, but she went on there and wrote. Let me try to get it to scroll up here. So, anyways, she wrote, "Dear Iran, the USA has disrespected your country, your flag, your people. 52% of us humbly apologize. We want peace with your nation. We are being held hostage by a terrorist regime. We do not know how to escape. Please do not kill us." So I want to explain something to you. All right. The USA has not disrespected Iran or their flag. I have never seen a group of Americans chant "Death to Iran" and burn the Iran flag. However, I have seen people in Iran yell "Death to America" and burn the American flag. And the reason why they do that is because they hate us for the fact that we are a Christian nation. We do give women rights, and we don't murder gays, and a lot of other reasons, but those are primarily the reasons why. Okay, and any action that is against the Sahara law or the spread of Islam is a murderable offense, or is allowed to be the crime is punishable by death in a Muslim country like Iran. So when you say that we are being ran by terrorists and you don't have an escape, so there is a thing called an airplane or boats, and what they allow you to do is to go into another country. Now, for all those that don't know how to escape, there are very simple ways. You can cross into Mexico. You can cross into Canada. You can take a flight over to another country. And when you do so, make sure you set your American passport on fire, because then you will see what actually happens to illegal immigrants in other countries besides the United States, because you will be thrown in prison and you will be dealt with harshly, and they will find a way to send you back to the United States. So now, for those of you commenting, yes, I've been waiting to cover this. I just wanted to see what was going to continue to be said. So make sure that you share this on your page so more people can continue to listen to me rant about this and these anti-American idiots that have no clue what they're talking about. Back on the Rose McGowan thing. So when you are ran by a terrorist regime, as she calls the president, and she only calls the president that because she doesn't like the president because he is a Republican. Now, it doesn't matter if a president is a Republican or a Democrat, but when you say it's a terrorist regime, then there's a problem when you just simply don't like a person. Now, the man that was killed in Iran was a pro supporter of Assad and his killing of his own people. That is a terrorist regime. When Donald Trump starts intentionally killing Americans, then that is a terrorist regime. It's not a terrorist regime just because you don't like the guy. That doesn't make it a terrorist regime. A terrorist regime won't allow you to escape the country. Everybody has their own ability to escape this country. If you really think about it, numerous people said that if Donald Trump became president, they was going to leave this country. I have not seen one person, and if anybody has, please correct me, but I have not seen one person that actually left this daggum country when Donald Trump became president, for the simple fact of we are the greatest country that there is. And if we're not, then you need to leave, find a better country, and then come let me know. Now, everybody knows the whole race issue in our country absolutely sets me on fire. Like, I absolutely can't stand it. I think the argument of race completely is entirely ridiculous, and people that don't like someone else because of their race is just as idiotic as you can be. And it goes both ways. Now, I'm going to share this this other screen that I have because there we go. Let's see if he'll pull up. Okay, so this is what we're looking at now. So a good friend of mine posted this right here, and it was actually from T.I. And T.I. is always on there saying something completely ridiculous about the United States, the white race, and everything else. Okay, and if you look at what he actually wrote on here is, "Ain't no Iranian ever called me the N-word." First of all, if you want to have a political speech, then you need to use your proper grammar, okay? That's just what it is. Second of all, infest our communities with dope and then lock us up for it, allow the police to run us over and gun us down with no accountability, or enslave us and try to act like the shit ain't happened. So as I pray for our soldiers, I'm also going to be praying for theirs. This ain't our war chant. First of all, if you're an American citizen, if we go to war Iran, it really is your war. Second of all, 99% of the Americans I know have never called someone the N-word, has never infested your community with dope, never locked you up, never allowed the police to pull you over and gun you down with no accountability, nor have they enslaved you, nor have they tried to act like it didn't happen. I'll put that out there. But the problem is shit like that is what keeps the race war in our country going. Because of all the things he could have said, all the things he could have done, the one thing he didn't have to do was bring race into this. And here's the reason why that is. So when we talk about this, we're dividing America into color. Okay? And it also shows the ignorance of T.I. Because if you look at what Muhammad and the Muslims did to Northern Africa, which is the reason why actually the majority of Northern Africa is actually Islam now, is because when they went through, they murdered anyone that didn't convert to Islam and follow Muhammad and his followers. Focus into it. The Middle East is extremely racist. America has some problems. They really do. But with T.I.'s post, what he's doing is taking a small portion of Americans and making it look like the entire country. And if what T.I. was saying is true for the majority of Americans, then we would look like certain countries in Africa that are ran by Islam, by members of Muhammad's Islam community that came from Saudi Arabia in the Middle East and are now still having hereditary enslavement for those that are darker than them. And what that means is if you were from the Middle East, you're in power. And if you were from Africa, you were a slave just for the simple fact that your parents and your ancestors were from Africa. That's a serious problem. And it's 2020 today. So what needs to be said is the president responded to an attack on the embassy. You had Americans in an embassy that were spending New Year's Eve worrying about if they're going to get murdered by a group of individuals that hate Americans. And what people need to realize is if we were to get in a fight with Iran, or if we were to have a war with any country in the Middle East, they're really not going to care if you're white, black, native, Asian, or whatever the hell else organization you put yourself in. Because it's the fact that you're an American, you will be killed. They're not going to have an excuse. They're not going to care that you were once enslaved. They're not going to care that you were once put in a concentration camp. They're not going to care that you once ran away from your country because there was a potato famine. They're not going to be cared that your people were on the Trail of Tears. They're not going to be cared about anything. They don't want to hear your sob stories. All they know is you're Western and you need to die. And we're more worried about something that happened in the past, but not then. So a point was made on one of the posts that I wrote that it's not our fight. And it's those people are not ours. And it's really crazy because those same people are the ones that's saying that we should welcome the Mexicans and those from Central America into America and give them citizenship because they're people. And we should treat them like people because they're trying to escape their country. So what's the difference here? Either we need to help people because they're human beings, or we don't. Because I've seen it numerous times to where some jackwagon has got on television or some jackwagon has got on social media and said that white Americans don't need to help Black American communities because they're just going to kill themselves anyways. And I thought that was extremely stupid then. And I think the idea that we shouldn't save souls in another country just because they're not us doesn't make any sense. Because if we want to have that mentality, and we need to do that to literally every aspect of our community. So let's look at another thing. Let's look at the AIDS epidemic, which started in a large portion of the gay communities. Imagine if everybody's like, "Oh, that's gay people's fault. They need to find their own battle. They need to find their own way to fight AIDS. They're just going to kill each other anyways." We didn't do that. Yes, there were some stupid people that did that, but no person deserves to die for any reasons unless they're a criminal. I mean, and they're a war criminal at that. Now, this so-called general that was in Iran, not only was he responsible and actually encouraged a lot of the deaths that Assad caused in Syria, he is also credited with about 1,000 deaths of U.S. soldiers from attacks that he's planned in Iraq through the Iraqi war. Now, we can play this game of that's not our fight, this is their fight. But those wasn't just white soldiers. Those soldiers wasn't killed because of the color of their skin. Those soldiers were killed because of the flag that they wear on their arm. Okay? No one outside of these borders care what color anybody is. So what's also I find absolutely crazy about this whole thing with Iran and everybody complaining about it is that when Benghazi happened, the same people that are okay, so when Benghazi happened, Hillary Clinton refused to send troops, and Americans lost their lives, and nobody cared. Hillary called the mothers of those individuals liars and everything else. And then Iran attacked an embassy, and within an hour, the president showed the power of our country. Now, there's a lot of people that will do anything for their county or their city or their state, or they're part of the country in America. But I don't understand why when Americans are attacked that it's an issue. There should be no American apologizing for what happened, because if you don't know about Ambassador Stevens or the Navy SEALs that were killed defending the embassy in Benghazi, then you really need to look up the pictures of Ambassador Stevens. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up so I can show you the pictures of what Hillary Clinton allowed to happen during Benghazi. So give me 1 second, because seemed to have a problem with him being murdered like that. Sorry, I'm really trying to rant and not do this, but I'm trying to find this photo because I'm guessing everybody forgot what happened. Well, basically what happened is it's loading. Hillary Clinton rolled over in the middle of the night and for the days prior, when he begged and pleaded for additional troops to be sent, because he knew that the embassy was going to be of Iran, and nobody cared. Here it's trying to load up. So while it loads up, then I'm gonna get back to it. Okay, here you go. Let me get to where I can share this now. As y'all know, this actual program is still pretty new to me, but I want to show you this. Now, I don't know if you can read what is being shown. Is still loading. So if you see this picture to the far right, that's a picture that was taken of Ambassador Stevens when he was being killed, and to the left is some more photos of him. But if you look right here, I'm not really getting into whoever posted that, but as you can see, that's a cattle prong. That's something you poke cattle with. Okay, and this is the photo that comes to when everybody says this isn't our responsibility, this isn't our war, this isn't something that we need to get involved in. So people are mad that the president actually had the audacity to attack someone that attacked us. And now you have news articles that are saying that the president had very limited information. The president done this, the president done that. Okay, all that is un-Americans giving reasons why they hate the president and they hate our country, while they refuse to leave our country. This is what they want to happen. What happened to Chris Stevens and the Navy SEALs is exactly what everyone that is posting against the attack that the president had on one of the leaders of Iran want to happen. Because if the president hadn't acted, this is what they would have done. So I hate people getting divided by politics, but this shouldn't be a political issue. A political issue is, should we spend money here? Should we spend money there? Should we go left? Should we go right? How do we need to do this? This is an anti-American or pro-American issue. Okay? That is an American. I don't care if he was white, green, yellow, orange, brown, whatever. He has the same flag on him that I carry. Okay? He has the same flag that holds us all together as a country. Now, I don't know if a lot of people know, but after Benghazi happened, there's like $180 billion that was sent to Iran by President Obama. Now, please tell me, since everybody is so political now and everybody is pro what's right and what's wrong, okay? Let's say we're in a domestic violence situation and the abuser is beating the victim. And then the victim says, you know what, I'm gonna give you a whole bunch of money to stop beating me. Does anybody really think that the abuser is going to stop? Or do you think the abuser is going to continue to beat the victim just for the sake that once you give into it, you will always give into it? So here's what happened. You had a president that drew a line in the sand and then moved that line when that line was crossed. And then to make people stop, to prevent a war, gave them $180 billion. And now you have a president that says, hey, if you mess with Americans, I will destroy you. Iran doesn't know how to deal with that. North Korea doesn't know how to deal with that. And it's not a Republican or Democrat thing. It's a politician thing. Because Obama did it, Bush did it, Clinton did it, and Bush Sr. did it. They always play. Now, the next thing I heard is the UN has claimed that the Iranian general had no partake in killing Americans or helping with Assad or anything like that. And the problem with that is that the United Nations is primarily ran by Muslim countries that just the fact are Muslim countries. So you're trying to take out war crimes against a sitting president in a country that is declared war by a country who says they're not in the war, but their leading general is in that country meeting with people that are against the United States and planning attacks against the United States. Now, I know a lot of people don't understand, but to me, that's guilty by association. I mean, that's being in the right place at the right time. If he had no intentions of being against the United States, he shouldn't have been there. I mean, it's been a war zone the majority of my life, and it hasn't changed. So, all right. So a couple of y'all commented. So y'all go ahead and comment what y'all got to say. I'm gonna pull up my phone because there's some comments on there that hasn't came up. Okay, so the person whose post I just said, people were talking about that Iran ain't never done anything to them, and it says we look how we look like wasting money that we don't have on a war that has no benefits to the American people. Okay. Understand this. Iran, if Iran attacks in America, that is an attack on all Americans. It doesn't matter if you don't want to believe that it is, okay? Because if it's not stopped, then it's going to continue, okay? That's like me saying that Japan has never done anything to me. And we all know about Pearl Harbor. Because here's the thing. Those same people that are saying Iran's never done personally anything against you are the same people that are saying they hate Nazis and that Nazis are bad and that people shouldn't be Nazis. Because there's very few people alive today that the Nazis have ever personally affected. And everyone that I know of have a number on their forearm. So the same people that are saying that that Iran has never done anything personally to them are the same ones that made posts like T.I. that are saying that they were enslaved when in reality they never were. And by the same default of the fact that Iran has never done anything to you specifically, then literally everything that you hate about every group of haters or evil people in this world, you have no argument to be against. You can't be against the people that enslaved blacks in America. You can't be against the Germans. You can't be against the Japanese. You can't be against Iran. You can't be against anyone because they didn't personally affect you. And a problem a lot of people have is they want the idea of having their cake and eating it too. And growing up as a child, I always hated that saying because it didn't make sense to me. And as I got older, it actually makes sense now. And that's the problem. And it goes back to this idea that people can be pro-American and pro-terrorist at the same time. And you can't be. It's the same idea that you can be pro-black and pro-abortion at the same time, or you can be a Christian and a Democrat at the same time. You can't be. There's too many values there that are against exactly what you're saying, that you can consider yourself to be both. Now you can consider yourself um, under an ideology and completely out of politics. That makes sense. But you can't have it both ways. You can't say you hate something but you accept something at the same time, because that's not it. That's not how these things work. And what people don't understand is when you make a claim like that McCowan chick, who honestly I've never heard of before, and so either I'm really away from reality or she's just no one important. And it really sounds like she's chasing clout, and she's trying to get attention, because that's all she's gotten these last few weeks. Just everybody's talking to her. And if you follow her, you like her, I'm completely sorry. I wish I had enough money, because I'd buy her a plane ticket and do her passport application so she can get out of this country and she can be a resident of another country. But a problem she's going to realize is when she gets out of this great country, the things she said like that would get her killed. You know why? Because Iran controls their social media. China controls their social media. Russia controls their social media. It's pretty much every country that's anti-American controls their social media and what information their citizens get and they don't get. So that should tell you something right there. Not to mention they wouldn't survive there for more than 15 or 20 minutes, because there's a lot of values in America that they don't like. And one of the biggest things is, if you look at her Twitter picture, she has cleavage showing. She also has her face exposed. It's real hard to say that someone is you're under a terrorist regime when you do exactly what you want to, and then you're allowed to say that your leader is a terrorist. Because if you look at the people in Iran, they threw a party after he was killed, and you had women ripping their habibs off to show gender equality. Yet all these feminists are against the president because Donald J. Trump just gave all the women in Iran the ability to pull off their habibs and be equal to men. I hope y'all understand what I just said. The President of the United States just gave gender equality to all women in Iran. The penalty for a woman being seen in Iran without her habib on is death. Yet after one attack from the President of the United States, there was rallies all over Iran with women tearing their habibs off so they could be seen in public just like their male counterparts. And then feminists go and complain that the President of the United States set women free in a country where they have no rights. And then we have Muslim leaders in our country that attacked the president. Now, if you remember, said Congresswoman got with Bernie Sanders last week and a half ago, and was saying that the president supported anti-Semitic cults and groups and was against Israel and everything else, when he just lit into Iran, which Iran is completely against Jews, completely against Israel, and the idea of Israel, period. And now that the president has attacked their top military general, now all of a sudden she is blaming the president for starting a war and everything else, when in reality, she's just mad that a Muslim got killed by an airstrike from the President of the United States, whose name just happens to be Donald J. Trump. Now, it's like 1,200 and some airstrikes that Obama did without approval from Congress, which it technically was approved through Congress because Congress approved the war. However, with that being aside, 1,200 airstrikes Obama didn't go to Congress for. But now all suddenly Trump is against the Constitution and Trump is against Congress because Trump has to tell Congress when he does anything. And everybody is floating against now how Trump doesn't know the Constitution. So we'll go into this impeachment thing right quick. The impeachment itself is against the Constitution because the House voted to start an impeachment inquiry, but won't send it to the Senate because they know it won't pass the Senate. So therefore, they're trying to hold it so Trump can't get reelected. That sounds pretty unconstitutional to me. Anyways, so we go from impeachment to Trump's trying to start a war in Iran. And here's the thing. China doesn't want a war with us. Russia doesn't want a war with us. Iran doesn't want a war with us, and we don't want a war with them. While the trade talks hurt some American companies, the president did say the American government would support them. It devastated China for those few weeks that the president said we was going to stop trade, because China has 1 billion people that they cannot support, they can't feed, they can't do anything with. So without America and a support from Americans, the Chinese economy is going to collapse. They're not going to be able to have a war because they're not going to be able to have no money. They're not going to be able to do anything. The only thing they're going to be able to do is use the supplies that they currently have. Okay. And China may have loaded the United money, and people talk about we're in debt and all this other stuff, but China's never going to get it back because China has no way to get it back because money is fake anyways. There is no actual value to money except for besides to get it. Anyways, I'm not trying to get off subject here, but it all comes back to the same thing. Iran wants nuclear power. The problem is Iran will make nuclear weapons instead of taking that nuclear power, giving it to their citizens and giving them clean energy, because that's not what they want to do with it. They're less worried about the livelihood of their citizens than they are about spreading Sahara law and the power of Islam. So I don't know what to tell you. But I'm about to get off here because I've been on here for a while. But make sure you share this. Make sure you comment and do what you need to. But all in all is, if you're against this attack, which I don't want to call it an attack. I mean, because the word attack is negative. It was exactly what needed to happen. I don't even know what to call it, but it was justified. They attacked our embassy, and people need to know that if you attack Americans, then America will hurt you. Americans will harm you. There was something I forgot. So there's a lot of people that are complaining about a so-called draft. So let me explain this right quick. Like 4 or 5 months ago, everybody was willing to draft themselves into storming Area 51. And they were willing to give their lives to find out something that they would never find out. But now, to defend Americans, they all suddenly want to worry about going to war, getting killed, which that just shows me right there how stupid so many people are. Because let me explain this. Area 51 is out there, and you know about Area 51. If the government didn't want you to know about something, you wouldn't know about it. So if just the fact that you know about Area 51 goes to show you that there's nothing there. Because if it was there, you wouldn't know Area 51 existed. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. That's legitimately why it's called a secret area. Um, so I'm wondering what would have to happen before people come together as Americans and understand that an attack on one American or an embassy is an attack on all Americans. Because the world doesn't care how we separate ourselves, what categories we put ourselves in. All the world cares about is that you're an American. And if you're not behind the president, if you're not supporting the president who supports America and will defend America, then you are un-American. If you don't support the Americans' attack on any Iranian official or general, you are anti-woman and you are anti-LGBT. Not to mention, you're just a horrible damn person, because everything they do is destroy people and harm people and murder people and everything else that happened. And if you dare compare anything that happens in Iran today with anything that happened in America years ago, you might want to go to Iran and leave your passport at home. Wait, if you go into Iran illegally, the punishment is death. I hope somebody caught what I just said. So anyways, make sure you like this and share it. And then if you're on YouTube, go watch it on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, go watch it on YouTube. I'm going to take the audio and put it on Anchor for all those you that's not able to listen live. But yeah, y'all, the un-Americans that are Americans, they really need to leave our country. And I'm not saying the ones that are certain color or creed or group or anything like that, because if you're pro-American, I don't care what you believe. I don't even give a crap if you're a Democrat. But if you're pro-American, then you're pro-American. You know, you deserve to benefit the freedoms and the rights that we have. If you're anti-American, the only thing you need to do is leave, because everybody wants to complain about America and things that happened in the past, but no one is yet to leave our country. And I don't understand how something could be so bad and so like miserable, and everybody is so harmed and offended by everything that happens in this great country, but they will not go to another country. I mean, the amount of people that said they were going to go to Canada, not one person left. So that just says that America is the greatest country in the world. We have more freedoms than any other country in the world. And yeah, I don't even know, man. It breaks my heart to see so many Americans that are unappreciative of what they can have in America. I mean, with that whole actress McCowan, or whatever the hell her name is, I hate even saying her name. I don't even want to say it no more. But for her to be a woman in the status as she is, to make a tweet like that, shows exactly how great our country is. Because the country that she's supporting, she wouldn't even be allowed to even make that. So that's all I got to say. Thank y'all for viewing. Thank y'all for watching it. I'm gonna do the best I can to get it on Anchor, so y'all can, so that those that can listen to it on the Anchor app or at that podcast. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Make sure you share it, please, like it, and do all your other stuff. And then if you got anything you want to say, just message me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or the lawfuleverything@gmail.com. But I hope and pray that y'all have a great American night and know that just know that America's great, and that waking up in America and breathing in America is a God-given blessing. That's all it is, because you could have been born somewhere else in another country to where you're not free to say what you want to say. You're not free to worship what you want to worship. You're not free to be in a relationship with who you want to be in a relationship with, or any of these other things that separate our country in America. Because at the end of the day, the entire world is against everyone that it falls under red, white, and blue, because we're the only one that does what we does. I mean, I got fans in other countries, and I love them to death, and I know some of them love their country. But at the end of the day, where there's just small things like the Second Amendment or free speech or things like that, they don't have like we do, and we're the last country against New World Order. And one thing that can show how the world is really viewing our country is by looking at the amount of conservative leaders that are being voted in that have ideas like the President of the United States of America. Because if everyone holds their country to be the greatest and everyone holds their country to be first, then everyone's going to fight for equality. But when no one fights for what's right and for their country, then someone's going to take control of everything else. Now, we can all be number one in our own eyes and all achieve the best that we can. So I'm just gonna get off here, but yeah, y'all have a great American night, and to all the troops that are still in, um, just know that in our current commander in chief, you have someone that is pro-American soldier, and he actually supports you. And when a time comes and shit hits the fan, know that you have a president that is going to be behind you regardless of politics or what these political generals or anybody else says. And you can see that with the Eddie Gallagher in the Navy, who he pardoned, and everything that's going on in that. So this has been the Lock on Everything with your host, Brian Locklear, and I'll see y'all next time.